Imagine an ancient monastic community. It looks serene, sure, but inside, there's this human drama playing out.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up shaping their rules for, well, forever.
That's right.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into some really fascinating ancient Buddhist texts. We're looking at excerpts from the Bhikkhunī Vibhaga, specifically focusing on the very first Pārājika rule, the one for Buddhist nuns.
And our goal here isn't just to retell the story, though the story itself is quite something. We want to understand the incident, yes, but also the careful thinking behind creating these legal rules within a spiritual group.
What it tells us about human nature, maybe, and discipline.
Exactly, and how they try to balance those things. It's a really compelling look at the practical side of, running a spiritual community.
Okay, let's get into it, because this story is surprisingly dramatic.
It really is.
So set the scene for us. Where are we?
We're in Savatthi. The Buddha is staying at the Jetavana monastery. And there's this wealthy layman, Sāḷha Migāranattā. He decides he wants to do something generous, a big gesture.
Which?
He's going to build a dwelling, a residence for the community of nuns.
Ah, okay. A big undertaking.
A very big undertaking.
Yep.
So he asks for what they call a navakamika bhikkhunī,
Which means?
essentially a nun to supervise the construction project.
Got it. Makes sense.
Now, there were 4 sisters, all nuns, but one, Sundarīnandā, she really stood out.
How so?
Well, the text describes her quite vividly. Young, beautiful, attractive, but also intelligent, skillful, diligent, very capable when it came to, planning and organizing things.
So the perfect person for the job, basically.
You'd think so, and the community of nuns agreed they chose her.
Okay, so Sundarīnandā is overseeing the building work.
Right, and as the project gets going, she's often visiting Sāļha's house, to pick up tools, axes, spades, things like that.
Standard stuff for construction.
And Sāļha, he's also visiting the nun's place frequently, checking on how the building's progressing.
So lots of interaction.
A lot of interaction, and the text is very direct here. It says through these frequent meetings, their hearts became paibatatita.
Mutually attached.
Exactly, mutually attached. It's such a, human detail, isn't it? Right there in a monastic rulebook.
It really is. It reminds you that these were real people dealing with real emotions, even within that structure.
Absolutely. And this attachment becomes the crux of the issue. Sāļha, he apparently couldn't find a chance for, let's say, inappropriate behavior.
Out in the open.
Right. So he comes up with a plan, a rather cunning one.
What does he do?
He arranges a special meal for all the nuns, but the seating, it's very deliberate.
How so?
He puts the older nuns in one area, the newer ones in another. And Sundarīnandā, he arranges for her to sit in this hidden, secluded spot out of sight.
Oh, that sounds suspicious already.
Very. But Sundarīnandā, she's described as intelligent, remember?
Right, sharp.
She figures out what he's up to. She realizes he wants to defile me.
So what's her move?
Clever. She pretends to be ill, feigns sickness, and sends her attendant nun to go get her share of the alms food instead.
Buys herself some time, maybe avoids the situation.
That seems to be the idea, but Sāļha is outside, waiting, asking specifically for her.
And when he hears she's sick...
He basically says, but I arranged this whole meal just for her. He tells his servants to just serve the other nuns, and then he heads straight over to the nun's dwelling himself.
He's persistent. Sundarīnandā must have known he'd come.
She did. The text says she saw him approaching from a distance, so she quickly goes inside her own dwelling, covers her head, lies down on a couch, trying to look genuinely ill.
Making the scene look convincing.
Yes. So Sāļha comes in, asks her, what's wrong?
And her reply is quite something, isn't
It
it?
really is. She says, this is what happens, sir, when one desires someone who does not desire them. It's quite pointed.
Wow. Putting it right out there. What does he say to that?
His response just confirms everything. He says, why would I not desire you? I just couldn't find an opportunity to defile you.
So zero subtlety there. He admits his intention.
Completely. And then the text states, being impassioned with an impassioned Sundarīnandā, he engaged in physical contact.
The crucial phrase there seems to be impassioned with an impassioned. Mutual.
Exactly. Both were feeling this passion, according to the text. And importantly, this wasn't private.
Oh, who saw it?
There was another nun nearby, an old nun, frail, quite ill herself, lying down. She witnessed the whole thing.
And she didn't stay quiet.
Not at all. She immediately complained. How can venerable Sundarīnandā, being impassioned, allow an impassioned man to touch her like that?
And that complaint it spread.
Like wildfire. First through the nuns community, then it reached the monks, and eventually it got reported directly to the Buddha.
So the matter comes before the highest authority. What was the Buddha's reaction?
Well, first he questioned Sundarīnandā, confirmed the details, then he strongly censured her.
What did he say?
He called her actions unfitting, unsuitable, improper for a recluse, unseemly, not to be done. Strong words.
Very strong. Did he elaborate on why it was so bad?
Yes, he explained the impact. This kind of thing doesn't inspire faith in people who don't have it yet, and for those who do have faith, it doesn't increase it.
It does the opposite.
Exactly. It causes doubt, makes people reconsider their faith. It undermines the community's spiritual standing.
That makes sense. It's about the integrity of the Sangha. Now, you mentioned earlier the text highlights some of her traits. Did the Buddha connect those to this incident?
He did, yes, which is fascinating. He didn't just focus on the act itself. He mentioned she was hard to support, discontent, fond of company, even lazy.
Interesting. So suggesting these qualities maybe made her more susceptible?
It seems that way, and he contrasted these with the virtues they should cultivate. Being easy to support, content, enjoying solitude, being ascetic, graceful, humble, diligent.
So it's about character development as prevention, in a way.
Precisely. It's a much broader view of ethical conduct. Not just don't do this, but cultivate these qualities so you won't want to do this.
Okay, so after the censure, after discussing her character, what happens next? This leads to the actual rule, right?
Yes. The Buddha then called the community of monks together, and he laid down this specific training rule, the Sikkhapada, for the nuns, and he gave 10 specific reasons for doing so.
10 reasons. That sounds very thorough. What were they?
They really cover all the bases, things like the well-being and comfort of the Sangha itself, suppressing unruly nuns, making sure conscientious nuns feel comfortable.
So community health, basically.
Right. And then preventing defilements, both in this life and future lives. Inspiring faith in outsiders, increasing it in believers.
Protecting the reputation and growth.
Exactly. And then, crucially, for the stability of the true Dhamma, the teachings themselves, and for upholding the Vinaya, the monastic discipline.
Wow. So it's about individual conduct, community harmony, public perception, and the long-term health of the entire tradition.
It's incredibly comprehensive. It shows you this wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction. It was a carefully considered legal and spiritual principle being established.
So this rule, born from this incident, becomes the very first Pārājika rule for nuns. And Pārājika means, that's the most serious category, right?
It is. It carries the ultimate penalty. Expulsion from the order. Defeat.
Can you give us the wording of the rule itself?
Sure. It states, whatever bhikkhuni, being impassioned, allows an impassioned male person to have bodily contact below the armpit and above the knee, or allows touching, stroking, grasping, fondling, or pressing, she is defeated. Pārājika. She is no longer in communion due to contact below the armpit and above the knee.
Okay, that is incredibly specific. Let's break down some of those terms because the precision seems really important here.
It is. The level of detail is remarkable.
First, bhikkhunī. That doesn't just mean any woman wearing robes, does it?
No, absolutely not. It means a fully ordained nun, someone who's gone through the proper formal ordination process recognized by the entire Sangha. It implies a full commitment.
Okay, and avasutta, impassioned. We touched on this, but how critical is that word?
It's absolutely central. It means roused, desiring, with mind attached. The rule hinges on this state being mutual. Both the nun and the man have to be in this impassioned state for this specific rule to apply in its full severity.
Right. What if only one of them is? We'll get to that later, I suppose.
We will, yes. There are nuances.
Okay, pura sapugalo, male person. Does this cover any male being, like gods or spirits?
No, again, very specific. It refers to a human male, conscious, capable of physical contact. The texts actually explicitly exclude beings like yakas, rapitas demons, or ghosts, and also patakas, which might refer to eunuchs or intersex individuals, and even animals disguised as humans.
Wow, they really thought through the possibilities.
They did. It limits the scope to a very specific kind of interaction.
And the location. Adhaka ka ubadnoantle, below the armpit and above the knee. Why that specific zone?
It seems to define a kind of danger zone. Contact within these boundaries is considered particularly serious, leading to the Pārājika if the other conditions, mutual passion, etc., are met. It creates a clear physical boundary for the most severe offense.
And then the actions. touching, stroking, grasping, fondling, or pressing. Are these just synonyms or distinct levels?
They seem to represent a spectrum of contact, from potentially lighter touch, amasane, to more forceful actions like patopa, pressing. The rule aims to cover various ways illicit physical contact could occur.
Okay, and pārājika, defeated, expulsion. The text uses an analogy, doesn't it?
A very powerful one. It says, just as a person whose head is cut off cannot live, a nun who commits a pārājika offense is no longer a true recluse, no longer a daughter of the Sakyas, referring to the Buddhist clan. It signifies a complete severance.
It's spiritual death within the community.
Essentially, yes, and linked to that is the final term, asavasa.
No longer in communion. What does that practically mean?
It means she loses all rights to participate in the Sangha's communal life. No joining formal acts, no shared declarations, no taking part in the training. She's outside the community, spiritually and practically.
Okay, so the main rule is very clear, very specific, very severe. But you mentioned nuances. What happens if the situation isn't exactly like that? Does any physical contact automatically mean expulsion?
No, and this is where the sophistication of this ancient legal system really shows. It's not black and white.
How so?
The text lays out different degrees of offense. Pārājika, expulsion, is for that very specific scenario. Both are impassioned, direct body-to-body contact within that zone below the armpit and above the knee.
Right.
But there's a lesser, though still serious, category called thulakaya, a serious offense, but not expulsion.
Okay, and what kinds of situations fall under thulakaya?
Several variations. For instance, if both are impassioned, but the contact is, say, body to clothing within the zone, or clothing to body.
So not direct skin contact.
Right. Or if both are impassioned and it is body to body, but it happens outside that specific zone, like on the arm above the armpit or the leg below the knee.
Still serious, but less so than contact in the danger zone.
Exactly. Another thulakaya case. If the contact is body to body within the zone, but only one of them is impassioned, maybe the nun is, but the man isn't, or vice versa.
Ah, so the mutual passion is key for the pārājika.
Absolutely. And even contact with a non-human male, like those yakas or disguised animals we mentioned, if both are impassioned and it's body to body in the zone, that's also a thulakaya, not a pārājika.
Interesting. So it's a tiered system. Are there even lighter offenses?
Yes. There's the dukkhaya offense, which is considered minor. This covers many other combinations, maybe contact via an item that was dropped, less direct forms of contact, or contact outside the zone when only one person is impassioned, or with a non-human when conditions aren't met for thulakaya.
It's incredibly detailed, almost like a modern legal code with its distinctions.
It really is. And what's also crucial is the recognition of intent and circumstance. There are explicit exemptions.
Exemptions. Like when a nun wouldn't be held responsible?
Precisely. The text states a nun is not liable. No offense is committed if the act happens unintentionally, or if she's unmindful or unaware of what's happening, or if it happens without her consent.
That seems vital. Consent is key.
Absolutely. Also, exemptions for being insane, mentally distracted, or if she's experiencing such severe physical pain that she's not really aware or in control. It shows a degree of compassion and psychological understanding.
And there's one more really important exemption specific to this story, isn't there? Regarding Sundarīnandā herself.
Yes, that's right. As the Adhikamika, the first offender, the one whose actions led to the rule being created, she herself was explicitly exempt from expulsion under this new rule.
So the rule wasn't applied retroactively to her.
Exactly. It's a fundamental principle of fairness in lawmaking, isn't it? You establish a rule first, then apply it going forward.
It really highlights the careful thought that went into this.
It does. It wasn't just punitive. It was about establishing clear guidelines for the future.
So when we step back and look at this whole account about the incident, the Buddha's response, the detailed rule, the nuances, it's far more than just a story about one nun's transgression.
Oh, absolutely. It's a window into how an ancient community grappled with real human issues and tried to build a framework for ethical living.
It shows such a meticulous approach, doesn't it? Understanding psychology, the need for community integrity.
And balancing that strictness with, compassion and understanding of individual situations. It wasn't just about saying no, it was about protecting the Sangha, its reputation, its ability to function as a spiritual body.
Protecting the fabric of the community, as you said earlier.
Exactly. Ensuring its integrity and its ability to effectively transmit the teachings.
It really is a powerful case study. And, thinking about it, this isn't just some dusty ancient history, is it?
Not at all. The core issues are timeless.
I mean, this tension between, say, personal feelings of freedom and the responsibilities you have to a community or an ideal, that's something we still grapple with constantly.
Everywhere, in all sorts of contexts.
And seeing how even in this highly disciplined environment, basic human nature challenges the boundaries. It makes you think. What does this ancient example suggest about the systems we create today? Whether it's in workplaces, organizations, even legal systems. How do we define ethical conduct, and how effective are we at enforcing it while still accounting for human complexity?